So just when we thought that maybe the market was going to continue selling off, we see a huge push up today, especially in the quantum market. As you guys can see, quantum pushed up huge with QBTS leading the way up 12%, while QUBT's up. You see AMD stock and the semiconductor market's up, but also you got Rigetti stock as well as IonQ, both up about 5%. So when you take a look at the recent moves, one thing to consider, we just wrapped up our live session. We were trading the semiconductor market, one of the markets that moves alongside the stock market. A lot of times is the tech market, and it was even overextended while it's pushed up today. We were able to capitalize and trade it this morning. We're up 5% on the portfolio so far. If you guys ever want to tune on into those live sessions in StockMate, it's that second link in the description. When it comes to QBTS, we see this new trend that's starting to continue, and I think we actually have some drawings here. There we are, that it's really stayed consistent with. You see this trend, and at one point it surged just in a matter of a few days up 160%, and that was just a month ago. And now we're seeing it really validate this rising support again, and today it pushed up, and we have this previous support and resistance we were identifying in our last analysis video, and today looks like it pushed up there for a second, got rejected, but still pretty promising in its recent recovery. Now, if we see the whole market, let's say V-shape, and continue a recovery, seeing a swing like this, I mean, it's possible. It could happen. It would be, up in that 80 to 100% swings on QBTS, which we've seen in the past. So you got to take a look at that. Those types of swings happen quite often. Now, they're a $2 billion market cap, and they recently have some financials. They were looking a little red in the net income in the last quarter, but they still beat revenue. And as you can see, their revenue's been holding steady because they have pretty good contracts. You see them start to work with Boeing. You have the MasterCard contracts. See them building out some of their tech and stating that it's more efficient and faster than GPUs solely. So they're getting a lot of traction. They got investors from BlackRock and State Street. And I could actually say really the same about the institutional investors for a lot of these companies. This type of move today is obviously not just retail investors. That's the type of move, a 12% increase or even a 5% increase. They were really seeing that as a result of institutional buying. So you can see Rigetti is up. They have a lot of the same institutional investors. They are validating this previous resistance and support and continuing this trend that we've had mapped out for a little bit. So see if it makes that run up to $10.50. I could definitely see something like that happen for Rigetti if we start to see it continue in this bullish trend, because it did just break above the EMA. It's now breaking above that 200-day moving average. The only thing is a lot of these companies, so Rigetti, you got IonQ as well, especially IonQ doing well after the recent quantum initiative getting passed. So $2.7 billion bill that just got passed. So you guys could see this bill for the National Quantum Reauthorization Act that is based on really enabling the US to focus on national quantum from basic research to applications to addressing gaps in the technology's journey from laboratory research to real world use. You got the Department of Commerce, you got the Health and the State Department also benefiting from this, and even IonQ's name as well as some other quantum companies standing to benefit and getting some influx cash from that recent bill getting passed, which is good because you see China is investing in quantum. You see a lot of other countries starting to eye quantum, and the US is still maintaining that funding that's going into quantum, which is good. Is it enough funding? Probably not, but at least they're passing some bills to continue some of the funding into quantum computing, as it is one of the most innovative technologies that stands to drive the boom of AI that we're in right now. So as we start to see more traction and more funding, these companies, I believe, will catch on. That's why we cover them. We've been covering them really since October of last year. Much of the quantum market in the sector has surged over 10x since we began covering them. And if you ever want up-to-date information on these companies, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you're enjoying this type of content, so I know to make more of it. Now, when it comes to IonQ, They also are selling off, or they've been consolidating, not fully selling off, but they've sold off and they haven't recovered so much since these comments back in January. If you guys are familiar, back in January, all the quantum companies crashed as a result of Nvidia's CEO saying that quantum computing is 10 to 15 years away. In that crash, it was a 40 to 50% dip. And a lot of the companies like IonQ have sold off and now starting to find their bottom, maybe starting to recover. Just during this consolidation period, it's when that $2.7 billion bill got passed. But if you look at the recent moves, it's interesting because see IonQ still struggling a little bit, or it's consolidating, hasn't made full recovery. And in this time since the dip, you also had Rigetti dip down, and it hasn't made that full recovery. As you can see, it's still consolidating a little bit here, and it hasn't really made it back to previous highs since this crash. And you had Nvidia's CEO state that he was wrong about the timeline for quantum, and he's surprised. He was surprised his comments hurt the stocks. Some of you guys are familiar. They held another event inviting all the quantum companies. You got Jensen, you got Alan Barrett's, you got Peter Chapman, IonQ, and you have some Rigetti as well as Pascal, Quantinium. I was able to meet executives from Quantinium, IonQ, and I was even able to meet Alan Barrett's at the recent event where I got to have some words with him, which was quite awesome because we're kind of, multi-billion-dollar company getting some great conversations happening. And at the same time, while we had this event, it didn't really do much, and Jensen says, I'm wrong maybe about this timeline. That was maybe wrong of me to say it's 15 years out. And most of the companies still consolidated since then, but QBTS, on the other hand, made a full recovery up to previous highs. So you saw it go up even actually to all-time highs up to $12, and then recently sold back down. I think we have some drawings as well there. There we go with QBTS. So, this is the type of swing that if we see it happen again, right? The whole market's up today. Obviously, we're seeing full green. But if we see, let's say, a V-shaped pattern in the market, we start to see the full recovery. And on top of that, we actually get a full recovery here. I mean, that's another 100% swing. When we saw this swing happen last time, it was 180%, and it was in 6 days. I mean, that's pretty unheard of. So right now, a lot of the quantum companies, along with most stocks, after the recent sell-offs, they're looking a little on the overbought side. But nevertheless, if we see a recovery, these are the types of opportunities that we have to watch closely. I would be watching very closely with QBTS, Rigetti, a little bit more on the experimental and research phase in their quantum, which means that they don't have as much revenue as, say, QBTS, and that net income's down more. But you do see them plugging into companies like, if you go to their site, you can see their quantum and see where they're plugged in with AWS as well as Microsoft and some others through the cloud. So you can, potentially tap into this quantum computer through the cloud, which I believe is going to be, one of the main ways that people use these QPUs in the future. So that's good. You start to see the recovery. So here's the deal. We're going to be watching very closely because one of the things that could happen is these moves, if they present themselves, start to see these continued breaks above the 200-day moving averages. See QBTS, let's say, breaks up here and we start to see it validate this support at $7.30. That's something we don't want to miss. We want to watch that closely. So we'll be seeing if any opportunities present themselves at market open, and we'll be there. If you guys want to join us in that live session, it's the second link in the description. I'm ready to jump back into some more analysis on quantum. So we're starting to see it validate these supports and not just kind of sell off, but starting to look more consistent in their patterns. So we're going to be watching quantum, we're going to be watching AI, as well as space tech, and definitely the big tech market in robotics right now. We were trading semiconductors this morning, as I mentioned. And again, if you guys ever want to be there in the live sessions in Stockmates and surround yourself with other traders and investors, get a chance to be there every day as we're trading. then you can get there in the second link down below. I would encourage you guys to simply take a look. We got quarterly and we have lifetime access. Lifetime access at its current pricing is expiring, and I've been saying that for a little bit, but I can let you know that it's really happening very soon. So get ready for almost doubling in pricing for lifetime access, which is why you probably want to get in right now before that happens. So again, guys, appreciate you all. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.